Hello and welcome back to yet another top 5 here on the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Today it's time to pay respect to our glorious captain, Jordan Brian Henderson. This is Hendo's top 5 moments at Liverpool. Before we get into the video though, I have to remind you to like, comment, share, subscribe to the Kop TV. We've got a lot of great content coming out with Top of the Kops. We've also got all the fan cams and match previews and reviews, lineup predictions for when the football does return next weekend. But before we get into the football coming back, we have to look back and respect a man who is about to lift us our first ever Premier League trophy. It's Jordan Brian Henderson. Now let's not forget, we buy him for 20 million in August 2011. I think it was June actually. And I remember being with my cousin in Madrid at the time, big Liverpool fan, season ticket holder. And he was gutted that we bought Henderson, to be honest with you. It was around the time that we also bought Downing and Charlie Adam and Carroll. So the signings around that time were weird, to say the least. But Henderson is the one out of those guys that has obviously come through and become a Liverpool legend. Now, we should also remember that only a year after Henderson joined, Brendan Rodgers tried to move him on to Fulham. Thank God he didn't. But yeah, I just thought it was time to actually go back into the archives and see just how Henderson has progressed as a Liverpool player, how he's progressed from constant abuse because people just didn't think he was fit enough to wear the armband after a player like Steven Gerrard, who probably is the best player we've ever had. But how he's transformed and turned those opinions round is simply incredible. For me, I just love the man. He deserves absolutely endless praise and showering. He's just a lovely guy on and off the pitch, and it's going to be a real moment when he lifts that Premier League trophy. So let's get into moment number 5 in the top 5 Hendo moments for Liverpool. So number 5 in the list. Now this is a specific moment. It's when Steven Gerrard passes the armband on to Jordan Henderson. 14-15, there was a time where if he would go off as a substitute, he would place the captain's armband onto Jordan Henderson. He was the vice captain that season, and then in 15-16, Hendo becomes the main man at Liverpool wearing the captain's armband. Now, like I just said before, it's very harsh to compare Gerrard and Henderson, very different players. Both very passionate, both very determined, both leaders of men. But listen, Henderson is never going to score 120 league goals for Liverpool. It's just not going to happen. He's a different type of player. He does his kind of leading on the pitch up here instead of with his feet. But to actually become... I mean, it's very similar to when David Moyes took over from Alex Ferguson at United. Everyone, of course, is going to compare you straight away to Sir Alex Ferguson, and that's what happened with Hendo. A lot of people wanted him to not be the captain when Gerrard passed the baton, and at the time, we had other kind of... I mean, at the time, like I said, 14-15 in a previous video was an awful season. The last Gerrard game was a 6-1 defeat to Stoke, so to pick up the momentum and going into the next season was always going to be tough. Obviously, Rodgers left his job or got sacked in October, and Klopp comes in, and that's where I think the transition really takes place, and that's where over the years Klopp has shown the Liverpool fans how much he trusts Henderson, and it's almost as if to say, this guy's starting every single week, I trust him with my life, you should all do that too. So getting the armband from Stevie was a real moment and a real kind of metaphorical and physical transition from Gerrard giving him the armband. So listen, Henderson becoming Liverpool captain has to be in this list, and it's number 5 in the list. So number 4 in the list. Now, not many people will remember this, but his first goal was in September of the year he joined, 2011, or it might have been late August, and it was a goal against Bolton. Now, we won the game 3-1, I think. Charlie Adam scored, Skirtle scored, and Hendo scored. But I'm not going to lie, from when the season started against Sunderland that season to when he scored, it had been about 3 or 4 games, and I was just urging him to score. I really wanted him to make an immediate impact, and 3 or 4 games in he did with this screamer. It's a left foot curler. I remember, the thing I love about Henderson is whenever he scores, he goes absolutely wild. There's none of this calm celebration, telling everyone to shush. He just goes wild. The passion that he exudes from his body is just unreal when he scores a goal. So that's why this goal, because it was his first for Liverpool, has to go in the top 5. I mean, he played on the right of midfield a lot during that initial season, just because we had central midfielders. We just paid for Charlie Adam, and we still had Gerrard, we still had Lucas, and a lot of fringe players like that. Jay Spearing was in the team around the time. So for Henderson to get a goal like that from the right midfield, where, to be honest, he hasn't really played since, which is a good thing, for me it was great. So yeah, his goal against Bolton, his first Liverpool goal, is number 4 in the list. Number 3 in the list was a real breakthrough moment for Henderson, I feel. This was his goal against Chelsea away in the 16-17 season. That's number 3 in the list. So this goal, I mean, if we can remember it correctly, we win the game actually 2-1 or 2-0. And the ball kind of ricochets off a defender's knee. And it comes out to Henderson, and he's at least 30 yards out. One touch with his right foot, looks up and bends an absolute centimetre perfect, millimetre perfect shot to beat the goalie, who was Courtois at the time, into that top corner. I mean, the celebration, like I said, he loves celebrating these goals. I remember and if you read his mouth, his lip syncing when he scores and he's sliding on the Stamford Bridge turf. I think he actually says, like, get the fuck in there, which most players say, but it was the way he said it, his passion, like, the veins in his neck, his eyes come out. You just love to see it. What is better than watching a player celebrate a goal for Liverpool madly? There's just nothing better than that. That goal, for me, I mean, he scored a couple of screamers that season, but for me, this one is his best Liverpool goal of all time. With the celebration, it's just a great moment, and that's why it's number 3 in the list. Number 2 in the list is his goal against Southampton. So as we all know, 97 points we achieved last season in 18-19. This moment against Southampton, we were playing in the purple kit, and if you remember correctly, during this period of games towards the end of last season, Henderson was playing it in a much more advanced role, and he picked up a few goals along the way. But we really needed to win this Southampton game. We went 1-0 up, it was 1-1. And Henderson, I think it was the 3rd goal he scored for a 3-1 victory, was just great. And it personified Henderson's Liverpool career, starting deep, moving up the pitch and finishing it off with a goal. Again, it was a crazy celebration, horrible kit in fact. But this goal really for us cemented the fact that we were pretty much guaranteed, at that point anyway, to really give Manchester City a bloody good go in terms of the title race. As we all know, we only lost that by 1 point, which is an absolute travesty, and we should have won the league last year. But I feel this Henderson goal silenced a lot of people who maybe criticised him for playing in a forward role, or a more forward role than he was used to. And this goal for me just sums that up perfectly. We went on to win every game after this game, and it was a real turning point. I think it was March. It was the game when Salah rips his shirt off and stands like that in front of the Liverpool fans. Great scenes. And it's always a pleasure watching Henderson score. He's only scored 28 goals for Liverpool, which some would say in 9 years maybe isn't enough. But like we said, Henderson was never brought to score goals. So when he does score goals, you have to appreciate them. This goal, he came from very deep and slid it across the keeper. So for me, that's number 2 in the list. Now, number 1 in the list, there's not really any doubt, and it could soon be replaced, this top 5 and the top 1, with Hendo lifting the Premier League soon. But number 1 in this list is Henderson lifting the Champions League for Liverpool. So as we all know, June 2018, we lose in terrible fashion to Real Madrid in the final. Henderson was hugely upset, as you would be as the captain of Liverpool. I was as well. Henderson was crying, I was crying at the time, and it was horrible. But then a year later, to show the mental strength, the physical strength, the leadership, the determination, the perseverance to get to another final and win it. And let's be honest, like, you know, we beat Barcelona 4-0. And without Henderson on that pitch that night, we wouldn't win that game. It's as simple as that. If you look back at that 90 minutes, Henderson is absolutely all over the place. He actually gets the assist for the first goal. If you remember, it's a left foot strike that Stegen saves and Origi taps in. So I'm convinced without Henderson in that team that night, we don't win the Champions League. Simple as that. When you're known as someone who has their own trophy lifting technique, that's when you know you're starting to become a real legend. His famous one of them, and then it goes up, is synonymous now. It's called the Hendo Shuffle. So for him to lift that Champions League trophy and then go over and see his dad after, I mean, it's simply just, I mean, again, it's so emotional with Henderson because he exudes so much passion and determination. It's just so emotional with him, and I love it. His dad went through awful treatment with cancer, and he's come out on the other side, and Henderson was there to share that moment with him. I mean, that moment in particular of him hugging Klopp, crying with Klopp, Klopp's crying, hugging his dad's crying. Like, there's just so many emotions as a Liverpool fan, and it all comes down to the fact that Henderson absolutely will die for Liverpool, and we should be, you know, reciprocating that feeling towards him, because after he's won the Champions League, he can sit at a table comfortably with previous captains of Liverpool European Cup winning teams like Gerrard, Phil Thompson, Emlyn Hughes, rest in peace, Graham Souness. Like, Hendo is comfortable now with these guys. I think before he won that, there might be an idea that, look, Henderson can't really chat to the greats that have come in the past. But once you've won that trophy for Liverpool and you've lifted it above your head as the captain, I don't care, you're immortalised for life. His face will be on banners for decades and hundreds of years to come, which is great, and I love it. So yeah, lifting the Champions League trophy, especially a year after what happened in Kiev, just makes this so much more special. So Jordan Brian Henderson lifting the Champions League trophy for me will never get beaten until we lift the Premier League. And then I'll have to redo this whole video, but that's number one in the list. So as we know, Henderson has played 359 games for Liverpool. He scored 28 goals. He's lifted 4 trophies, including 3 in 2019 alone as a skipper. But of course, we've got to get into the honourable mentions. There's a lot more moments than just this one. So the lifting of the Super Cup, I mean, another great trophy to win in 2019, beating Chelsea in the final. Again, the Hendo Shuffle and lift. I mean, like I said, when you're known for your trophy lift, you're a certified Don. Lifting the World Club Cup, another trophy we've won this year. Henderson is actually the only player to have lifted the Champions League and the Premier League and the Super Cup and the World Club Cup in the space of a single year. He will be the only captain that's ever won those 4 trophies within the same year. So, unbelievable achievement as a captain to bring home 3 trophies in 2019. We're obviously going to get another one very, very soon. Which again, soon to lift the Premier League title. That will be potentially number 1 on this list, just because of the wait, the 30-year wait, and also because someone, you know, Gerrard and Carragher never won this, but Henderson has. That's what we've got to keep reminding ourselves. Another massive honourable mention is his work off the pitch. I mean, countless trips to hospitals, countless Zoom calls with, you know, sick people who are Liverpool fans. It just warms your heart, and he really does get the Scouse mentality. I mean, he's from the Northeast. A lot of people say that the Northeast and the Northwest have a lot of similarities, very working class places. But Henderson epitomises the kind of the caring, the loving, the giving back nature that is expected of you when you're a captain at Liverpool. Gerrard was just the same, obviously born and bred Scouser, but Henderson, for me, he set up the Players Together initiative to raise money for the NHS. Him and Milner did that together. You know, as a leader, he's really come forward and fought for all of his players' equalities with the kneeling recently of the Black Lives Matter campaign, which we should all totally get behind. And another honourable mention is his amazing goal against Manchester City in the 15-16 season. We all remember that one, a little cut-in and a top binner. I mean, listen, there's more honourable mentions and there's more great moments that Henderson has had at Liverpool. But these are all the ones I'm going to mention today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to the Kop TV for more great content. That was the top 5 Henderson moments at Liverpool. Let me know in the comments below what else you'd like me to talk about. We're doing a lot more top 5 moments until the season gets back underway. So let me know what it's going to be. But until next time, you'll never walk alone. Much love. Take care.